Microsoft in December announced the Xbox Series X out of nowhere, and today we got the specs completely out of nowhere. Let's get into it. Alright everyone, so today we're going to be talking about the Xbox Series X, because Microsoft, out of nowhere, just told us. Unexpected. And, you know, Microsoft doing this far out exudes confidence. It proves that they know what they're doing this time around. This is a different Microsoft, because normally they are pretty predictable. In fact, everyone is pretty predictable when a console launches. We get a console reveal, then an E3, then a launch. Well, Microsoft's going bold. They're doing something different. Unpredictable. And I like this Microsoft because it's different. It's refreshing. You know, this time around, Microsoft clearly knows what they're doing. They have a game plan. Now, when it comes to the specs, here we go. 12 teraflops, custom RDNA 2 and Zen 2 processor, variable rate shading, hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing, a custom built SSD, quick resume for multiple games, dynamic latency input, HDMI 2.1, auto low latency mode, variable refresh rate, and 120 frames per second. Now, first let's go over the frame rates and the SSD and the RAM. Pretty much everything about this console is far superior to what we have now. And normally when it comes to games on Xbox One X, we have a lot of 4K games. Some of the best looking games ever made, like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Metro Exodus, all look gorgeous in 4K. However, they aren't 60 frames per second. And granted, now, especially now, people want more games running at high frame rates. And it makes sense, right? So 120 frames will be supported next generation. Will that be every game? I doubt it. But here's the thing. 60 frames games will be far more common. While this generation, there haven't been a ton. So when it comes to 120 frames, I think we'll see first-person shooters, or at least some. We'll have sports games, racing games, and maybe some tactical games all run 120 frames. And frankly, a lot of people are going to be happy by this, because for years I've just seen people ask for higher frame rates. And when it comes to 4K, we'll be seeing more 4K games too, because I've seen plenty of games this generation, at least later in this generation, that have had Xbox One X support, and they haven't gone the distance with it, when other games that look better clearly have ran at a higher resolution. So I think on that front we are all good. Now, when it comes to Microsoft's next generation variable refresh rate, now the Xbox One X already does this. So if you have the adequate monitor or TV, you're going to have less torn frames. You're going to have less screen tearing, basically, and a lot of people get annoyed by that. A lot of people see it every day, but once again, Microsoft is future thinking. More TVs like Samsung and LG are including this feature, and it's going to sync the frame rates up with your TV, and your TV gets the signal of when to change frames, so you're not going to have any torn frames. And that's refreshing to hear, because sometimes when you play a multiplayer game and you get a torn frame, it can take your aiming off a bit. Now, the 12 teraflops thing. For months and months I've seen people talk about how this console won't be 12 teraflops. For no reason, by the way. And the funny thing is, we've had rumours for months, and I'll put some sources down below, of the 12 teraflops thing not being fake, or it being fake, and people are just saying it wasn't 12 teraflops for some reason, when there's a lot of science pointing towards that. And hell, even the top side of the console, there's, weirdly enough, 12 vent holes going in each angle. Like, that's like a weird thing Microsoft would do, because they put Easter eggs on their consoles. They've been doing that for a while now. Now, when it comes to the SSD, blistering load times. A lot of games this generation have suffered from extra loading times. If you fire up, again, Metro Exodus, the game might be gorgeous, it might be fantastic, but again, it loads super slow. A lot of open world games this generation just take too long to load, and that's not going to be an issue next generation. Now, when it comes to all these generations being supported, even going back to the original Xbox games, things are going to load quicker. You already see better load times now on the Xbox One X. Hardware accelerated ray tracing. Now, this is going to be the big point next generation, and I don't think a lot of people realise it. While we will see a lot of 60 frames per second games more often, and some 120 frames per second games, the real game changer is going to be ray tracing. That completely changes how games look. And only a few years ago, it wasn't even possible. And now we're going to have it on a console. Like, ray tracing a few years ago required a super powerful, like, 20 plus grand PC. Now, PCs can have it for under $1,000. Consoles are going to have it for under $1,000. And frankly, we're all going to see the benefits of this. It completely changes lighting. It's more realistic. Now, the way consoles and PC does this now is that the frame you are looking at is ray traced. Everywhere else you're looking, or should I say not looking on screen, isn't ray traced. It ray traces in real time to where you look. And that saves on power and performance. And when it comes to ray tracing, there's normally a hit on frame rate when you get ray tracing. And if this is hardware accelerated, it's going to be easier for developers and the console itself to basically push higher frame rates while having ray traced frames in the picture. Now, this is a different console to what people think, because I've said before, Microsoft has learned over the years. They've been getting better and better at doing certain things, and people have to remember, this generation coming, we're going to have our entire library already there. Microsoft, since 2015, has worked the hardest at trying to get as many games possible, working backwards compatibility, and performing well. And there's over like 500 Xbox 360 games, over 50 Xbox, I think 30 or 50 original Xbox games, and almost pretty much the entire catalogue of Xbox One. That's a lot of games. Like, Microsoft's been doing this for years. They know what they're doing. They've literally been kings of backwards compatibility. We have backwards compatible games running at 4K on Xbox One X. Now, will we see more of this next generation? Possibly. I hope so. But people have to realise that you being able to carry over your generations of games, your libraries of games, that's huge. People put a tangible thing on their library. They have value there. They have worth. They have connection to it. And people will be bringing over their hard drives or SSDs or whatever and plugging them into the Xbox Series X, and boom, all your games are going to be there. That is huge. And Microsoft's been doing this for years, and it all culminates to this, I'm going to say, November. It's going to be a big deal for Microsoft this generation coming, because again, you're going to fire up your Xbox day one, have your Game Pass loaded up and all your new games and all your old games, and just play whatever you want. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, hit like and subscribe. But I just want to say first that if this video seemed off the cuff, this topic came out of nowhere. I will have more videos out during the week about Xbox Series X and a few other things. And there's a lot to talk about, and not everything I could talk about today. But Microsoft talking about specs this early is a very good sign. And we're going to have more information coming over weeks and months. And it's all pretty just interesting right now because, again, it's unpredictable. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, follow me on Twitter, the link will be in the description down below. I'll have links for other people that are talking about specs in the description. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good day. Peace.